Cash is freedom. Hold a crisp note in your hand, and you hold a choice. No company, no algorithm, and most importantly, no government can instantly reverse. Cash is anonymous, portable, final. You can hand it to a street vendor at midnight, hide it under a mattress, or cross a border without a record showing every cent you spent. That anonymity has always been a form of power, and that's exactly why it is being eliminated. This is not a paranoid rant. It's a pattern repeated across history. Those who want to expand control over populations first take control of the money. They replace private, tangible currencies with instruments the state or platform can monitor, tax, and limit. Today, that replacement is sold as progress, convenience, safety, inclusion. But every convenience is also a lever of control. We are now in step 7. The last stage of the journey towards a predominantly cashless world. The earlier phases, digitization, mobile wallets, crypto, programmatic experiments, regulatory nudges, were not isolated events. They were successive, reinforcing steps, each one preparing people to accept the next. Most of us barely noticed because each change was packaged as a minor improvement. Faster transactions, lower fees, fewer counterfeit bills. But small improvements can be the parts of a lock. Once the lock is assembled, it turns. This documentary will show the 7 steps that led from coins in pockets to programmable, permissioned money in supervised ledgers. We'll explain how each step was normalized, how the incentives lined up for corporations and governments, and what a fully cashless world actually allows those in control to do. Step 1. Digitization. Money moves into databases. Digitization began with ATM networks, magnetic striped cards, and bank ledgers moving online. On the surface, fewer queues, immediate balances, convenient transfers. Under the surface, your money becomes records in systems owned by banks and payment networks. That matters because records can be monitored, analyzed, and controlled. A swipe creates a timestamp and a digital footprint, location, amount, vendor. Regulators and law enforcement gain access to this footprint through subpoenas, reporting regimes, and private-public data sharing. Technically, a bank needs only a keystroke to freeze a balance. Legally, many jurisdictions relax the hoops needed when fraud or national security is invoked. Digitization made surveillance practical and pushed the first wedge between ownership and access. You no longer hold your cash the way your grandparents did. You access an entry on someone else's ledger. Step 2. Mobile wallets. Convenience becomes dependency. Mobile wallets turned access into dependency. Apple Pay, Google Pay, PayPal, Venmo, and regional giants like EasyPaisa or Paytm made phones into wallets. These apps didn't just speed payments, they linked money to identity, phone numbers, emails, biometrics, and to hardware, SIMs, and devices. That enabled new conveniences, peer transfers, tap to pay, QR codes, app-based subsidies. It also enabled new vulnerabilities. If a phone or SIM is deactivated, the wallet can stop working. Corporations and governments benefit from the data these platforms collect. Merchants receive detailed analytics, tax systems can reconcile revenue more easily, and investigators can find behavioral patterns. The key feature of mobile wallets is instant revocation. Access can be suspended remotely with zero physical logistics. That's a dramatic difference from paper money. Step 3. Crypto and stablecoins. Trusting value without paper. Cryptocurrencies and stablecoins taught the world to accept money that exists as data but is not issued by a bank. Bitcoin introduced decentralized scarcity, a digital asset that cannot be printed by a central authority. Stablecoins, such as USDT and USDC, bridge the gap between volatile crypto and familiar fiat by offering tokens pegged to dollars, making instant cross-border transfers cheap and fast. These innovations proved 2 things to the public and policymakers. People will adopt non-physical money if it's useful, and digital money can move faster than legacy rails. That frightened states, because it demonstrated an alternative to monetary monopoly. It also normalized wallets, QR payments, and blockchain rails, all social conditioning that made the idea of state-issued digital currencies less jarring. Step 4. CBDCs, programmable money, issued by the state. Central bank digital currencies are the turning point. A CBDC is not simply a bank app. It places state-issued digital currency directly into accounts or wallets managed by the central bank or in tightly supervised intermediaries. That creates two new capabilities: visibility, every CBDC transaction can be logged centrally; programmability, units of money can be configured with rules, expiring after a date, usable only at certain merchants, limited by geofence, or released only if certain conditions are met. Pilot programs already test these concepts. China's digital yuan experiments included features like offline wallets and merchant incentives. Smaller economies trialed e-Naira-style airdrops and merchant incentives. The debate is not about feasibility, it is about design. Will CBDCs be privacy-preserving, tiered, allowing anonymous small-value transactions, or fully traceable? The choice determines whether CBDCs empower citizens or institutions.
Step 5. Cash restrictions. Starve cash of convenience. Governments rarely ban cash in one headline moment. Instead, they starve it of convenience. Withdrawal limits, onerous reporting requirements for large cash transactions, removal of ATMs in low-profit locations, and commercial decisions by big retailers all make cash harder to use. During crises, think demonetization episodes or pandemic fears, authorities stress hygiene or crime control to accelerate adoption. When infrastructure supporting cash, transportation, vault services, trained staff, atrophies, restoring it is costly or politically unattractive. The result is a slow attrition. Fewer cash points, longer journeys to withdraw cash, and social pressure to accept only digital payments. Step 6. Identity-linked payments. Money becomes permissioned. This step ties identity to money. Know your customer, KYC, and anti-money laundering, AML, rules already require identity checks for most accounts. The next stage fuses national IDs, biometrics, SIM verification, and social profiles with payments. The implication is financial participation becomes conditional. Fail an authentication, trigger a flag, or be placed on a watch list, and your economic life can be restricted. Cards declined, transfers blocked, benefits withheld. Examples are already visible. Accounts frozen during political crackdowns, biometric authentication failures cutting off service access, or tax flags delaying payments. Identity linking can reduce crime and improve inclusion, but it also creates a single gatekeeper for all commerce. Step 7. Full cashlessness. Access, not ownership. The final step is a world in which money is no longer physically held by people, but exists only as entries in supervised ledgers and wallets. Everything is logged, everything is conditional. That world makes possible real-time taxation, rapid fines applied directly to accounts, targeted subsidies, and purchase restrictions. Corporate and state actors can blacklist users or categories of purchases. Behavior can be nudged through programmable incentives or punished by freezing access. The core danger is not the technology. It is the design of rules and governance. When every cent is traceable and revocable, privacy and autonomy are fundamentally altered. Consider a few practical scenarios that move from plausible to chilling. Automatic pandemic quarantines where travel payments are blocked if a health flag appears. Carbon credits embedded in wallets that block fuel purchases after your quota. Political donations declined at point of sale. Stimulus payments that expire within 30 days to force consumption, or a wealth stabilization fee automatically deducted overnight. These are not fiction. They exist in policy papers and pilot features. The question is not whether the tech works, but who controls the rulebook. To be fair, digital money does deliver measurable benefits. faster remittances for migrant workers, cheaper cross-border commerce, easier subsidy distribution, reduced petty cash crime, and better financial inclusion when systems are designed for access. But benefits and risks are two sides of the same capability. The same ledger that stops theft can freeze dissent. The same efficiency that speeds payments can siphon privacy. Understanding the pattern is the first offense. Knowledge slows design choices that lock us in. Here are practical steps individuals and societies can take. For individuals, keep a small emergency cash reserve stored safely and legally. Even a week's living expenses in physical notes can be invaluable during outages. Diversify stores of value. Consider a mix of cash, short-term precious metals held offline, and small allocations to self-custodial crypto, cold wallets, if appropriate and legal in your jurisdiction. Learn secure offline backup practices. Use privacy-supporting payment choices where reasonable. Small value cash, privacy-respecting fintech options, and careful sharing of personal identifiers. Maintain robust identity hygiene. Protect your SIM, use multi-factor recovery methods, and monitor for unauthorized KYC attempts. Engage politically. Demand legal limits on programmability, explicit privacy protections, and independent auditing of any CBDC design. For societies and policymakers, insist on design principles for CBDCs that preserve privacy. Tiered accounts allowing limited anonymous use. Offline modes and cryptographic privacy techniques. For instance, zero-knowledge proofs. Require transparency and auditability. CBDC systems must have independent oversight, redress mechanisms, and limits on automated punitive measures. Preserve cash as a legal tender option for essential transactions and for public services. Build redundancy. Require offline transaction capabilities and fallback rails for critical infrastructure. Protect civil liberties. Enshrine laws that prevent financial exclusion for political reasons and restrict automated, unreviewable account freezes. The technology is neutral. The outcome depends on governance. Programmability can be used for targeted welfare that helps the poorest, or it can be used to control political expression. The difference is policy design, legal frameworks, and democratic oversight. If citizens engage early and demand rights by design, we can have the benefits of digital money without surrendering autonomy. Losing cash quietly is the most powerful way to remove freedom, because it happens one small improvement at a time. The pattern repeats for 5,000 years. Control over currency precedes control over people. But patterns can be broken. Awareness matters. Choices at the design table matter. Law and oversight matter. If cash really is freedom, then preserving options, not banning progress, should be the policy aim. Keep one hand on convenience and the other on autonomy. That's how societies keep the circle of freedom intact, even as money changes shape.